The blue-green planet hung in space like a marble swirling with white clouds. Captain Zixrel of the Vytherian Empire clicked her 6 arms against the command console as her ship dropped out of hyperspace. The silent harvester hummed quietly. Around her, its dark hull absorbing the light from the distant yellow star. "Initial scan complete, Captain," reported Leader Nix Van from the sensor station. "Third planet from the star shows signs of life. Temperature range suitable for organic matter. Oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere. Water covering 70% of surface." Zixrel's deep purple eyes narrowed. "Intelligent life? Uncertain. We detect various electromagnetic emissions, radio signals mostly. Primitive compared to our standards, but organized." The captain tapped her bottom-most arm against the floor, a gesture of mild interest among her people. "Begin full orbital survey. This should not take long. Another primitive world for the resource catalog." Dr. Kethavar glided into the command center, his flowing purple robes marking him as the ship's lead scientist. "Captain, I've reviewed our initial readings. This world shows something unusual." "Define unusual, Doctor." "Well, most primitive. Civilizations we encounter rely on basic psychic manipulation of their environment, or simple biological symbiosis with their ecosystem. But these beings—" He paused, his translucent wings fluttering with confusion. "They appear to have developed technology without either advantage." Zixrel tilted her head. "Impossible. How does a species advance beyond stone tools without psychic abilities or bioenergy manipulation? I don't know. That's why it's unusual." 20 levels below in the containment section, Jake Miller sat in his clear-walled cell reading an old Earth novel on a tablet. He'd been aboard the Vytherian ship for 3 years now. Ever since they'd captured him during their encounter with his deep space probe, the aliens treated him well enough. Fed him, let him exercise, studied him like a lab specimen. "Human Jake," came a melodic voice through the cell's communication system. "Please prepare for transport to observation deck." Jake sighed and closed his book. Another day, another round of tests or questions. He'd gotten used to it, though he still missed Earth terribly. Simple things: the smell of coffee, the feeling of grass under bare feet, the warmth of sunlight on his face. 2 guards escorted him to the lift, then to the observation deck. The view always took his breath away. Stars scattered across blackness like diamond dust. But today, something else caught his eye. A blue-green planet filled the view screen. "Oh my God," he whispered. "Earth." Captain Zixrel turned at the sound. "You recognize this world?" "That's my home. That's Earth. You found Earth. Is this where your species originated?" Jake nodded, emotions swirling in his chest. Home. After 3 years of alien walls and alien food and alien air, there it was. Home. "Tell us about your people," Zixrel commanded. "Our scans show they have spread across the surface, built structures, created technologies, yet they lack the basic abilities we see in all civilized species." Jake stared at the captain. "Basic abilities? Psychic manipulation, biological energy control, quantum phase awareness, the fundamentals of civilization. We don't have any of that," Jake said slowly. "Humans aren't psychic. We can't manipulate energy with our bodies. We use tools, we build things." Dr. Kethvar stepped forward, his wings vibrating with excitement. "But how? How does a species develop metallurgy without psychic separation of ores? How do they shape materials without biological energy projection?" Jake felt like he was missing something obvious. "We heat things up. We use heat and pressure to shape metals. We've been doing it for thousands of years." "Heat?" The doctor's wings stopped moving entirely. "You mean thermal energy?" "Yeah. Fire. Furnaces, that kind of thing." The room fell silent. Every alien present turned to stare at Jake. "Fire?" Captain Zixrel repeated. "You manipulate open combustion?" "Sure. We cook with it, we heat our homes with it, we use it in our engines." "Show us," the captain interrupted. "On the view screen. Show us this fire you speak of." Jake moved to the console, pointing at different areas on Earth's surface. See those lights? The ones that aren't cities? Those are controlled fires. Some are forest fires. Those get out of control sometimes. But most are intentional. Power plants, industrial facilities, even homes. The aliens leaned closer to the screen, their various appendages clicking and tapping against surfaces in what Jake had learned was their nervous tick. Incredible, Dr. Kethvar muttered. They're actually maintaining controlled oxidation reactions on a planetary scale. What's incredible about that? Jake asked. Don't your people use fire? Every alien in the room turned to stare at him again. Fire, Zixral said slowly, is considered a chaotic force, something to be avoided or contained through psychic fields. No civilized species deliberately harnesses it. Well, we do, Jake said with a shrug. It's kind of our thing. First thing we learned, really. How to make fire, how to control it, how to use it. The captain's bottom arms began tapping rapidly against the floor. Continue orbital survey, full scan. I want to know everything about how these humans use this fire, every instance, every application. Yes, Captain, Latorn Nixvan replied, his voice filled with confusion. As the crew dispersed to their stations, Jake remained at the view screen looking down at Earth. He'd never thought of fire as anything special. It was just fire. Humans had been using it forever, but seeing the aliens' reaction, maybe Earth wasn't as primitive as they'd thought. Your people, Dr. Kethvar said quietly, approaching Jake. They built everything using controlled combustion? Pretty much, Jake confirmed. Fire led to cooking, which helped our brains grow. Fire led to metallurgy, which let us make better tools. Fire led to engines, which let us travel. Fire even helped us reach space. The doctor's wings fluttered slowly. Fascinating and terrifying. Jake looked at him. Why terrifying? Because, the doctor replied, if your people can build a civilization on something as simple and as dangerous as fire, what else might they be capable of? Below them, Earth continued its peaceful rotation, unaware that aliens were watching, learning, and beginning to worry. The observation deck hummed quietly as more Vatherian crew members gathered around the main view screen. Each one stared with growing amazement at the readings streaming in from their deep scan sensors. Look at this, Latirn Tixner called out, pointing to a section of the data. The humans have these gathering points, hundreds of them together, all creating small combustion events. Captain Zixral moved closer to examine the image. What are they burning? Jake stepped forward, looking at the screen. Those are campfires, people sitting around them cooking food, telling stories. It's what humans do. But why? Dr. Kethvar asked, his wings twitching with confusion. If they need heat, why not generate it psychically? If they need light, why not use bioelectric manipulation? Because we can't, Jake explained patiently. We just make fires. We've always made fires. The doctor's purple skin shifted to a darker shade. But the risk, the energy waste, the uncontrolled chemical reactions, we control them just fine, Jake said with a slight smile. Watch. On the screen, the sensors focused on a small group of humans camping by a lake. They watched as two people gathered wood, arranged it carefully, and used some kind of tool to create sparks. Soon, a small fire was burning, contained within a circle of stones. Extraordinary, breathed Latirn Nixvan. They're deliberately starting a combustion event, without any safety fields, without any energy barriers. And now they're putting food over it, Captain Zixral observed. They're using the heat for processing sustenance. Jake nodded. We call it cooking. Raw food can be dangerous to eat. Cooking kills germs, breaks down tough fibers, makes things easier to digest. The aliens watched in silence as the humans rotated meat over the flames, laughed, talked, and eventually ate the cooked food. This explains much, Dr. Kethvar muttered, typing rapid notes on his console. Their caloric intake is maximized through thermal processing. No wonder they developed larger brain mass relative to their body size. Scan their infrastructure, Captain Zixral ordered. Show me these fire tools they use for survival. The view screen shifted to show a human city. Tall, buildings stretched toward the sky. Lights glowing in windows, vehicles moving along paved roads. Zoom in on those moving vehicles, Jake suggested. As the image magnified, the aliens could see into the engines of the cars. Small controlled explosions were happening inside metal chambers, pushing pistons up and down. By the void, Lieutenant Tixnor whispered. They're using combustion for locomotion too. Cars, trucks, buses, Jake listed, all running on controlled explosions. We figured out how to harness the energy from burning fuel. And their buildings? Captain Zixrel asked. Most have heating systems, burning natural gas or oil to keep people warm in winter. Some have fireplaces too for atmosphere. Dr. Kethvar was furiously taking notes. They use fire for comfort, for sustenance preparation, for transportation. What else? Jake thought for a moment. Industry mostly. Steel mills use massive furnaces to melt metal. Glass making needs extremely high temperatures. Ceramics, plastics, electronics manufacturing. Pretty much everything humans make involves heat at some point. The observation deck fell quiet. Each alien seemed lost in thought, trying to understand what they were seeing. Show us their military applications. Captain Zixrel finally ordered. The screen shifted to display various human weapons. Rifles firing bullets, artillery cannons launching shells, rockets lifting off from launch pads. Those projectiles, Lieutenant Tixnor noted. They're propelled by controlled explosions? Jake nodded. Gunpowder, chemical explosives. Same principle, as everything else. Controlled combustion creating force. And that large cylindrical structure? The captain pointed to a rocket on the screen. That's a spacecraft. It uses rocket engines, essentially very big, very controlled explosions pointed downward. The exhaust pushes the rocket up. Dr. Kethvar's wings were now vibrating constantly. They've achieved spaceflight through combustion? No psychic levitation? No quantum field manipulation? Nope, just fire, Jake confirmed. Might seem primitive to you, but it works. The doctor turned to the captain. Permission to run a full historical analysis of their technological development? Granted. I want to understand how this is possible. As the crew dispersed to their tasks, Jake remained at the view screen. He watched Earth turn slowly, thinking about how strange it must seem to these aliens. Fire was so basic to humans. Children learned about it in school. Everyone knew how to use it safely. Sti. Nix Van approached him quietly. Your people, he said. They must have very different neural structures than any species we've encountered. Maybe, Jake replied, or maybe we just took a different path. But such a dangerous path. Fire destroys as easily as it creates. Jake looked at the alien. That's what makes it interesting. We had to learn control, discipline, respect for it. Maybe that's what shaped us. Is that why your stories speak of it metaphorically? The lieutenant asked. Our translation systems have noticed you use fire to describe emotions, ideas, energy. Jake blinked in surprise. You've been studying our languages? Of course. We found references to burning passion, fiery temper, sparks of creativity, lighting a fire under someone. It seems combustion isn't just a tool for you, it's integrated into your culture. I never thought about it that way, Jake mused. But yeah, I guess it is. Fires in our language, our art, our myths. We dance around fires, we make fire art installations. We light candles for ceremonies. Captain Zixrel returned to the observation deck. Dr. Kethvar will present his preliminary findings in 1 hour. I want you there, human Jake. Your perspective may help us understand what we're seeing. Sure, Jake agreed, though I'm not sure I can explain it any better. To us, fire is just normal. That, the captain said, her bottom arms tapping thoughtfully, is perhaps the most remarkable thing of all. As the silent harvester continued its orbit around Earth, its crew worked frantically to understand this impossibility. A civilization built on controlled combustion. a species that had turned one of the universe's most chaotic forces into the foundation of their entire technological advancement. And on Earth, billions of humans went about their daily lives, completely unaware that their relationship with fire had just revolutionized alien understanding of what was possible for intelligent life. The science lab aboard the Silent Harvester had been transformed into a command center. Holographic displays floated throughout the room, each showing different aspects of Earth's technology. Dr. Kethvar stood in the center, his wings spread wide as he gestured to the data. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, his voice echoing through the ship's communication system. "What we're witnessing on this planet challenges everything we know about technological development." Admiral Rixkor attended the briefing through hologram from the Vytherian homeworld, her 6 arms folded in a gesture of skepticism. "Explain, Doctor. How does one species break the fundamental laws of civilized development?" "That's just it," Dr. Kethvar replied, activating a historical display. "They didn't break any laws, they found a completely different path." The display showed Earth from ancient times with small dots of light appearing across continents. These are the first fires created by early humans, approximately 1 million Earth years ago. Captain Zixral leaned forward. "Before they had any technology?" "Yes. While other species were developing psychic abilities or biological symbiosis, humans were learning to create and control combustion reactions." The display zoomed in on a cave where primitive humans gathered around a burning pile of wood. They used fire for warmth, protection from predators, and food processing. Jake watched from his position near the wall. It was strange seeing his species' entire history reduced to glowing displays and alien analysis. "But surely," Admiral Rixkor interrupted, "this was merely a temporary phase. All species must discover either psychic manipulation or quantum awareness to advance." "That's what we thought," Dr. Kethvar admitted, "but watch what happened next." The timeline accelerated, showing the development of metallurgy. Instead of psychically separating metals from ore, they heated rocks to extreme temperatures. Instead of quantum phasing materials into new forms, they used fire-based forges. Lieutenant Tixnor pulled up additional data. "Our scans show their planet currently has approximately 37 million industrial combustion processes running simultaneously. Power plants alone consume billions of tons of flammable materials each Earth year." "The scale is unprecedented," Captain Zixral mused. "No known species manipulates energy on such a massive scale without psychic amplifiers." "Because they don't need amplifiers," Jake interjected. All eyes turned to him. "We just burn things. It's efficient, scalable, and reliable." Admiral Rixkor's hologram flickered as she adjusted her connection. "But the environmental impact must be catastrophic." "It has its problems," Jake agreed. "But we're working on solutions. Solar power, wind energy, nuclear fusion. We're always finding new ways to generate power." "Solar power," Dr. Kethvar repeated, displaying a solar panel array. "They convert stellar radiation directly into electricity. Again, without any psychic interface or quantum manipulation, physical devices." The room hummed with the sound of data processing. Each alien present seemed to be reconsidering fundamental assumptions about civilization itself. "Show them our military capabilities," Captain Zixral ordered. The display shifted to show human weapons systems. Missiles streaked across the screen, firing from ships, aircraft, and ground installations. "All propulsion based on controlled combustion," Lieutenant Tixnor reported. "Even their most advanced weapons use chemical or nuclear explosions for propulsion and payload delivery." "And their space program?" Admiral Rixkor asked. Jake felt a surge of pride as the screen showed rockets launching from Earth. "We put people on our moon using rocket engines. Now we have satellites, space stations, and we're planning missions to other planets. All with combustion-based propulsion." Dr. Kethvar's wings vibrated with excitement. "This explains why their electromagnetic signature was so unusual. They're not using any of the standard faster-than-light technologies. Their space vessels achieve velocity through staged combustion systems." "Inefficient," Admiral Rixkor noted. "But it works," Jake countered, "and we keep improving it." The doctor activated another display showing human culture. Perhaps most fascinating is how combustion has integrated into their social structures. They have rituals centered around fire, celebrations involving pyrotechnic displays, and entire industries dedicated to decorative combustion. The screen showed fireworks exploding over cities, birthday candles being blown out, and Olympic torches being lit. They celebrate with controlled explosions? Lieutenant Tixner asked in disbelief. Fireworks, Jake explained. We use them for holidays, celebrations, special events. It's art using fire and chemistry. Captain Zixral's bottom arms tapped rapidly. They've turned a potentially destructive force into an art form. Not just art, Dr. Kethvar added, displaying more data. Their languages reflect this deep connection. Human idioms frequently reference fire, playing with fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire, fighting fire with fire. It's metaphorical thinking, Jake offered. Fire represents energy, passion, danger, transformation. We use it to describe ideas because it's so central to our existence. Admiral Rixcor's hologram leaned forward. You mean they think in combustion metaphors? Not exactly, Jake said. But yeah, fire concepts show up everywhere in our thinking. Bright ideas spark. People get fired up about things. We talk about burning questions and hot topics. The room fell quiet as the aliens processed this information. Each seemed lost in thought, considering the implications. Doctor, Captain Zixral finally said, what is your recommendation? Dr. Kethvar spread his wings in a gesture of uncertainty. This species has developed along completely unique lines. They've built a technological civilization using principles we considered too primitive or dangerous. Yet they've achieved results comparable to early psychic civilizations. Are they a threat? Admiral Rixcor asked. Unknown, the doctor replied. Their technology is different from ours, but not necessarily inferior. They may actually have advantages in certain areas due to their different developmental path. Jake remained quiet, letting the aliens debate. He was beginning to understand that Earth's discovery was more than just first contact. It was challenging everything these aliens believed about how civilizations should develop. Continue monitoring, Admiral Rixcor decided. But maintain distance. We need to understand these humans before making any decisions about contact. As the meeting dispersed, Dr. Kethvar approached Jake. Your species has given us much to consider. Jake smiled. We're full of surprises. Indeed, the doctor replied, his wings rustling. I have a feeling your fire is about to change how the entire galaxy thinks about technological development. Back on Earth, billions of humans continued their daily lives, unaware that their ancestors' simple discovery of controlled fire had just shaken the foundations of galactic civilization. Back on the Vitherian homeworld, the discovery of Earth had triggered a crisis in the Empire's Science Council. Elder Vixmal presided over the emergency session, his ancient purple skin darker with confusion. In all our exploration, he announced, to the gathered scientists, we have never encountered anything like this. These humans have achieved everything through intentional combustion. Dr. Rixval, the Empire's leading cultural analyst, presented her findings to the council. The implications go beyond technology, she explained, displaying a map of human history. Look at their mythology. Every culture has fire myths. Gods who stole fire, spirits living in flames, creation stories involving burning. Fire is integral to their identity, added Dr. Nixral, the psychic development specialist. While we were born with mental manipulation abilities, they created their civilization from scratch, with combustion as the cornerstone. Meanwhile, on Earth, strange things were happening in the night sky. Captain Ben Rodriguez sat in his monitoring station, watching his screens with growing concern. Control, are you seeing these energy anomalies? Negative, Rodriguez, came the reply. Your equipment must be malfunctioning, but Ben knew his equipment was fine. Something was up there watching them. Dr. Claire Anderson finished her lecture at the university, not knowing her research paper on early human fire use had just been downloaded by alien scientists. Her students filed out, one commenting, "It's amazing how everything we do comes back to fire somehow." Claire smiled. From cooking to space travel, fire made us who we are. In a small-town workshop, mechanic Tom Wilson worked on an old engine. The spark plugs fired in sequence, creating controlled explosions that powered the car. He didn't know aliens were analyzing the exact same principle from orbit. These humans, Dr. Rixval continued her presentation, have songs about fire, dances around fire, art inspired by flame patterns. Their entire culture revolves around this energy source. Elder Vixmal leaned forward. But without psychic abilities, how do they ensure safety? Combustion is unpredictable by nature. They've developed extensive safety protocols, the doctor replied. Fire departments, building codes, safety equipment. They've turned chaos into a manageable tool. Aboard the silent harvester, Jake was called back to the observation deck. We need to understand something, Captain Zixral said. Your weapons. How do you control such destructive force? Jake thought for a moment. Well, we have rules, training, strict procedures like your military protocols, I assume. Lieutenant Tixnor displayed human military training on the view screen. They spend years learning to manage combustion-based weapons. Every soldier understands the principles of controlled explosions. Remarkable, Dr. Kethvar observed. They've created a warrior culture based on fire management. Jake watched Earth slowly rotate below them. It's not just military, he added. Every kid learns fire safety in school. We grow up respecting fire's power. In New York City, firefighter Sarah Lee responded to a building fire. She and her crew moved with practiced precision, using water and foam to control the blaze. Their radios crackled with coordination as they saved lives. Even their emergency response, Lieutenant Tixner noted, watching through the ship's sensors, revolves around combustion control. They fight fire with water and chemicals, but still use combustion engines to get to emergencies. Back on the Vitherian homeworld, the Council was reaching a conclusion. We must reconsider our basic assumptions about civilization, Elder Vixmal declared. These humans have proven that psychic abilities are not necessary for technological advancement. Dr. Nixrel nodded. Perhaps we've been too narrow in our thinking. Maybe there are other paths to the stars we haven't considered. What do we do about them? Asked Dr. Rixval. Do we make contact? The room fell silent. Making contact with a non-psychic species was unprecedented in Vitherian history. Meanwhile, in Earth's military headquarters, General Mike Thompson reviewed reports of unusual energy signatures detected by various monitoring stations. What do we make of these readings? His advisor shrugged. Could be solar activity, equipment malfunction, or what? Something we haven't seen before. Astronomer Lisa Martinez adjusted her telescope in a remote observatory. There's definitely something out there, she muttered, reviewing her data. These patterns don't match any known celestial phenomena. On the silent harvester, Jake was discussing human psychology with Dr. Kethvar. We're not that different from you, Jake insisted. We want to explore, to learn, to survive. But you lack the fundamental abilities we consider essential for sapience, the doctor replied. Do we? Jake challenged. We've reached space. We've created art, music, literature. We have philosophy, science, mathematics. We just did it all, with fire instead of mind power. Captain Zixral overheard the conversation. Human Jake raises an important point. Perhaps sapience manifests differently across species. The view screen activated, showing a coded message from the Vitherian homeworld. Admiral Rixcor's image appeared. Captain, the Science Council has reached a decision regarding the humans. The bridge fell quiet. Jake felt his heart rate increase. We will observe for now, the Admiral continued, but prepare for potential contact. These humans have demonstrated that there are multiple pathways to civilization. We must understand them fully before deciding our next course of action. After the transmission ended, Captain Zixrel looked at Jake. You may be the bridge between our species, human Jake. Your understanding of both worlds could be valuable. Jake nodded slowly. I just hope we're ready for each other. Dr. Kethvar's wings fluttered thoughtfully. Whether we're ready or not, this changes everything. The galaxy will never look at technological development the same way again. On Earth, children played with toy rockets, dreaming of space travel. Adults cooked dinner over gas stoves. Scientists worked on fusion reactors. Firefighters battled blazes. None of them knew that their simple relationship with fire had just revolutionized alien understanding of what was possible for intelligent life. High above, in the depths of space, two civilizations stood at the edge of contact, each learning that the universe was far stranger and more wonderful than either had imagined. The emergency session of the Galactic Council hadn't been called for 2,000 cycles. Representatives from 7 different species gathered in the vast chamber, their various forms of communication creating a complex symphony of sounds, lights, and psychic energies. The Vytherians have discovered something unprecedented, announced the council speaker, its crystalline form shimmering. A species that has achieved spaceflight through controlled combustion alone. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the assembled delegates. The Zephyrian representative's gas form shifted colors in agitation. Impossible. Combustion is chaos. No civilized species manipulates such forces. Nevertheless, the Vytherian ambassador replied, these humans have done exactly that. Meanwhile, aboard the Silent Harvester, Captain Zixrel made a decision that would change everything. Open a channel to Earth, she ordered. It's time to make contact. Jake felt his stomach drop. You mean? Yes. The galaxy needs to understand these humans directly, and perhaps they need to understand us. On Earth, the NSA's Deep Space Monitoring Division experienced the event they'd trained for but never expected. Every satellite, every radio telescope, every communications array suddenly received the same message in perfect English. People of Earth, we are the Vytherians. Please respond. Dr. Steve Wright rushed into the command center. What's happening? My instruments are going crazy. First contact, sir. His assistant replied, her voice shaking. It's actually happening. Jake stood before the communication console, serving as interpreter between two civilizations. His hands trembled as he activated the communicator. People of Earth, this is Jake Miller. I've been on this ship for 3 years. These aliens, they're friendly. They want to talk. On Earth, governments scrambled to respond. Military bases went to high alert. Scientists abandoned their labs to watch the broadcasts. Children stopped playing to listen to the strange voices from space. President Amy Carter addressed the nation from the Oval Office. My fellow Americans and citizens of the world, today we learned we are not alone in the universe. In the spirit of peaceful exploration that has always driven humanity, we will meet this challenge together. Back on the Silent Harvester, the crew watched Earth's reaction through their sensors. City lights changed patterns as people looked skyward. Television broadcasts showed excited crowds gathering in streets worldwide. They're not afraid, Captain Zixrel observed with surprise. Humans are curious, Jake explained. We've always wondered if we were alone. This answers a question we've been asking for centuries. Dr. Kethavar approached with new data. Captain, their response is fascinating. They're already asking questions about our technology, our civilization, our biology. They want to learn from us. And what about our questions about their fire-based civilization? The captain asked. They're eager to share, the doctor replied. Look at this. The view screen showed a broadcast where scientists were explaining combustion principles to alien viewers. They're teaching us about controlled combustion as enthusiastically as we shared psychic theory with them. Lieutenant Tixnor monitored Earth's communications. Captain, they're already discussing cultural exchange programs, trade possibilities, scientific collaboration. Jake smiled. That's humans for you. First thought is always, how can we work together? The captain turned to Jake. Your species fascinates us, human Jake. You've built everything on principles we considered too dangerous to harness. Now you're ready to share those principles with the galaxy. And learn from you in return, Jake added. Fire got us this far, but there's so much more to discover. A coded message arrived from the Galactic Council. Captain Zixrel read it and looked thoughtful. The Council wants a formal meeting. Earth will be invited to join the galactic community. Just like that? Jake asked. Your species has proven that there are multiple paths to the stars. That changes everything we thought we knew about civilization development. On Earth, the world transformed overnight. Children drew pictures of aliens and spaceships. Scientists worked around the clock on communication protocols. Engineers designed new spacecraft inspired by alien technology. But they all still used fire. Nuclear physicist Dr. Lisa Parker held a press conference. "This contact doesn't diminish our achievements," she stated. "We reached the stars our way through determination and controlled combustion. Now we can learn about other ways too." Firefighter Tom Wilson was interviewed by local news. "Seeing aliens marvel at our use of fire makes me proud," he said. "We've always known fire was powerful. Now the whole galaxy knows it too." A week later, the Silent Harvester lowered its shields and entered Earth's atmosphere. The ship landed in a designated area in Nevada, its alien architecture gleaming under the desert sun. Captain Zixral and her crew emerged, Jake walking between the two groups like a bridge between worlds. Humans and Vitherians stood facing each other for the first time on Earth soil. General Mike Thompson, commander of the human delegation, stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth," he said simply. The captain responded in kind. "Thank you. We come to learn and to share." Dr. Kethvar immediately began examining a nearby campfire set up for the occasion. "Remarkable," he muttered. "So simple yet so effective." Jake, watch the two groups begin to interact. Scientists comparing notes. Military officers discussing defense strategies. Children from nearby towns showing alien visitors how to make s'mores over the campfire. "You know what's funny?" Jake said to Captain Zixral. "We've been reaching for the stars for so long we forgot that the stars might be reaching back." The captain's bottom arms tapped in amusement. "Your fire brought us together, human Jake. Perhaps it will light the way forward for all our civilizations." The sun set over the desert. Two very different species sat around a simple campfire sharing stories and laughter. The flames danced between them, a symbol of humanity's journey from cave to cosmos, and now, to the stars themselves. In the months that followed, humans would share the secrets of controlled combustion with species across the galaxy. In return, they would learn about psychic abilities, quantum manipulation, and biological energy control. But they never abandoned their fires. Children still told stories around campfires. Rockets still lifted off on pillars of flame. And whenever humans met with alien species, they always made sure to include a small fire in their gatherings, a reminder that sometimes the simplest discoveries can illuminate entire galaxies.